Douglas Allen Bickford, broadcasting live out of my 105-year-old house here in Klamath Falls, Oregon, which is my hometown. I am teaching you how to be positive about who, what, and where you are. I am a self-taught psychiatrist, counselor, and therapist because I have thousands of hours of studying how the mind works. I didn't have to go to college to get my qualification to be a psychiatrist, a counselor, and therapist because I know how the brain works. And what I'm doing on Facebook and YouTube is absolutely only one reason, and that's to teach you how to obtain a healthy mind. Since I'm qualified as a psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor now, since pushing 2 years of studying how the brain functions, without stepping in a college and getting all the other junk you got to get to go with that so they can write it down on paper that you have that college degree, right? I am self-taught. And I went right to the meat of the subject, which is psychiatry. Just like I'm a self-taught musician. I haven't stepped school one, college one to learn how to master the piano, the banjo, the guitar. I didn't have to. So I am qualified to help you all out there as a psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor. That's the absolute only reason I'm on Facebook and YouTube, to help all of you out there. There are billions, I said billions with a B, folks, that have been emotionally, sexually, and physically abused. I am a victim of all three of those. And there's billions of you out there in the same boat. So, because of all my studies of the brain and how it works, I have taught myself how to heal from emotional, sexual, and physical abuse. That's why I'm offering you my services. I can teach you the same thing. 1 hour a week, 4 times a month. Call me to schedule your first therapy session. And you can trust me. I'm qualified, okay? 458-232-5238. That's my phone number. Call me anytime to schedule the appointment. In order to get a healthy mind and to be positive about who, what, and where you are, you have to attain and maintain a thing called self-esteem. What self-esteem is, it's how you feel about yourself inside. It's also known as self-confidence, self-worth, self-love. Here's how you can think about what self-esteem even is. Most people don't even know what the 2 words even mean, and that's why self-trained, self-taught psychiatrist Douglas Allen Bickford is here for you, okay? We've all been in romantic relationships, and nobody's told you any of this stuff before, because nobody's teaching it. You know that good feeling when you first meet that person, man. You're on cloud 9, both of you are. You're bragging to all your family and friends about how great these people are. You know, they walk on water, you know, they can do no wrong. You can do no wrong in their eyes. You can't wait to be with them, man. You can't wait to sleep with them. Can't wait to eat with them. And, you know, the whole 9 yards. Everything that goes with that good feeling. It's very understandable because that is a very good feeling. I've had it a few times, but because I had no self-esteem, I couldn't make the relationship work. Okay, but we'll get into that later. So that's what self-esteem is towards yourself, okay? Dr. Susanna McMahon, who is got a doctorate in psychology, she's 73 years old, lives in Madrid, Texas with her husband. She wrote this book called The Portable Therapist 30 years ago. every lesson, every chapter, every question in it talks about how we've been taught and trained not to have a healthy mind and not to have self-esteem. So she's had thousands of clients as a psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor, just like I'm hoping to get, okay, without the doctorate, okay, the formal education. So she's my trainer. All my training came from her, okay. She taught me how to be a psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor to all of you out there. Anyway, so she's had thousands of clients, and they would pay her huge money, unlike I'm going to do for you. It's all going to be free, except for you'll have to buy this book. She had thousands of clients that would pay her huge money as a psychiatrist to fix their unhealthy minds. She knew that nobody was teaching self-esteem back then because they didn't want us to have it for whatever reason. That's why nobody's teaching it, right? So they would hire her to fix their healthy minds. So she came up with a concept to get her clients to give themselves self-esteem. And here's that very simple concept. You look at yourself in the mirror and say 4 things. I love you. I love my inner child. I'm worthy to be loved. I'm worthy to love. I am full of goodness. Those 4 things will instantaneously give you self-esteem. But to maintain that self-esteem, you have to practice it. It's like pumping iron, right? Lifting weights. I've done it, okay? Very difficult. You have to practice it, okay? And if you start lifting weights and you stop, you have to start over from scratch. And if you've been a weightlifter, you know what I'm talking about. You lose the muscle mass. Self-esteem to maintain it is the exact same thing for the brain. So you'll have to say those 4 things to yourself in mirror. Excuse me. Every day for the rest of your life. I love Douglas Allen Bickford. I love my inner child. I'm worthy to be loved. I'm worthy to love. I am full of goodness. Those 4 things, like I said, will instantaneously give you self-esteem. And if you say it every day, you will maintain that self-esteem. You don't know what you're missing by not having self-esteem. It'll take you less than 10 seconds, folks. You can do it. I know you can do it. So, self-esteem, attaining it and maintaining it, is the absolute. Hold on 1 second. I got to go back. The reason she come up with mirror therapy is we cannot lie to ourselves in the mirror. And it's a psychological event that happens in your brain. You can't look dead straight in your eyes and say something that you don't believe. Okay? So that's why you can very easily criticize yourself when you get in front of the mirror. When we get older, especially, that's when we start doing it, right? You can say it because that's how you feel about yourself. You can't say 4 good things to yourself in the mirror because you don't believe it about yourself, and you can't lie to yourself in the mirror. So, the very first time you do it, folks, you'll have to force yourself to do it. And it feels very strange and awkward. In fact, it feels very strange and awkward for me even to tell you this, so much that you want to turn me off because of it. Don't turn me off. Just do it beyond that really strange and awkward feeling. Those 4 things to yourself in the mirror. Every day without fail. Okay. So, the reason, like I tried to get into here before, I told you that, right? The reason self-esteem, attaining it and maintaining it, is the absolute most important thing you can have as a human being, because there's 2 things. You can't be content without it. What content means is you feel good about how, where, and what you are. It's also known as internal peace. There are 12 things that people are using to try to be content. And you'll know what I'm talking about. Self-mutilization, which is cutting or scratching yourself. all the social media, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and the list goes on, right? Drugs, alcohol, sex, food, television, gambling, religion, and yes, a relationship with Jesus is religion. Material possessions, people, or money. Those 12 things are known as externals. They're outside of yourself. They will only make you content, feel good temporarily. That feeling never lasts. The absolute only thing that's going to give you that good feeling permanently about yourself is to attain and maintain self-esteem, and that is the 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily for the rest of your life, period. Okay. Just think about the alcohol buzz and the drug high, right? She smoked pot, right? That feeling is always fleeting, it feels good while you're on it. And then that good feeling goes away. Alcohol buzz, the same thing. Then you have to do more pot to get the good feeling, and alcohol, same thing. The warm, fuzzy feeling goes away, so you have to drink more alcohol to keep it going. Okay? That's never permanent. Okay? The next reason, it is the absolute most important thing you can have self-esteem. The next thing that makes it so it is the absolute most important thing you can have as a human being is we can't love without it, and we can't be loved. So what happens is people without self-esteem will attract people without self-esteem. And I'll tell you how you know if you have self-esteem, because people don't even know they don't have it. If you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you, you don't have self-esteem. So that's the test to see if you even have it. Okay? Because people will be talking to me going, I have self-esteem. I married somebody with self-esteem. Right? Well, then both you ought to be able to look in the mirror and say, I love you together. Okay? Anyway, so what happens is if you attract somebody with, if you have it, you'll attract somebody with it. If you don't, you'll attract somebody without it. Most people don't have it because nobody's ever told them how to get it. They're not teaching it. Nobody's teaching it except for Douglas, Allen, Bickford here in Klamath Falls, Oregon. So what happens is the relationship becomes toxic. After you move in together, the good feeling goes away. You start having kids and marry them, and that good feeling goes away, and then you think you're out of love. So then that's when both of you do. That's when the arguments start, the cheating on each other starts, drug and alcohol use starts, getting in the car, going down the road, trying to get away from them, the apologies, the therapy, the talking to your best friend or your family about how terrible these people are to you. Both people are doing the same thing, right? So because the relationship became toxic, you'll divorce or separate. And then the same 2 people without self-esteem will go jump in another relationship without it, and the exact same thing will happen. It's why you've been married more than once. It's why you've had many failed relationships. It's why I've been married 4 times and divorced 4 times. Okay. The next thing that'll happen is 2 that got together with no self-esteem, they'll stay in that relationship, that terrible relationship forever. And they stay because even though they both know it's bad, everybody knows it's bad, they're codependent on each other for whatever reason. They can't be alone. They don't want to be a failure. They don't want to be an embarrassment to all their family, friends, and church members. They're afraid to leave and they have nowhere to go. So they'll stay in it forever. And then all the emotional, sexual, and physical abuse, those 2 dished out to themselves and their children, gets swept under the rug by all the family members. And then it becomes a dysfunctional family at that point. Then dysfunctional families produce more dysfunctional families, and the cycle just continues. The very last thing that will happen that you got together with no self-esteem is this. After too many failed marriages and relationships, they'll just say, screw it, and they'll exit out of the romantic scene, and because they can't find anybody to love, and they can't find anybody to love them, because you can't love or be loved without self-esteem. So they'll be miserable just like they were in the relationship alone, because you can't be content, have eternal peace without self-esteem. So they'll use the 12 things to try to feel good, and it never works. It's always a temporary, fleeting thing. So the cure, the fix, from Douglas Allen Bickford here, a trained psychiatrist, therapist, and counselor, is all parties involved say 4 things to themselves in the mirror daily without fail. It will fix your toxic relationship. It will fix that miserable feeling that the people are all alone out there. And then all parties involved get this book. Go through the many other concepts in this book, or continue to watch me that I'm teaching out of this book, or call me for your first therapy session, okay? And I will encourage you along the way. It will fix your toxic relationship. It will fix that lonely feeling you have out there if you're all alone. And it'll give you internal peace no matter what your situation is. If you are in a toxic relationship, you want change, and the person that you're with doesn't want change, it will give you the strength and courage to remove yourself from that toxic relationship. It will also give you the strength and courage to remove yourself from a toxic, dysfunctional family. There's a lot of those out there, man, because nobody's teaching anybody how to get self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth, self-love. So, I am going through this book one lesson at a time, and here's that next lesson. Lesson 14. Why can't the therapist change or fix me? No one else can change you. No one else can change anyone else, period. You can only change yourself. No one else can change you. Other people may think they're responsible for your change, but you are allowing them overtly or covertly to think that. Your change is entirely in your control. You choose what you do and what you do not do. You choose which thoughts, when to be dependent, and when to assert yourself. If you choose to give your personal power to someone else, you are empowering them, and you can take your power back at any time. The word choose was deliberately overused in the above paragraph in order to emphasize that your life is in your control. Even when you do not feel in control, you are still the only one giving away your power. Why does this concept that we choose and we control our own lives seem so difficult for many of us to accept? Probably because originally as children, we were powerless and unable to choose. Our caretakers have the ultimate power over us. We depended upon them absolutely for our survival. We started our lives feeling helpless. And when we did assert ourselves, usually around 2 years of age, we were called terrible, and all too frequently punished for not being compliant or good. Thus, we quickly became afraid of being bad, which all too often means doing what we want to do. It is a basic human need to be loved. As infants, we may die without touch and affection, even though we are fed and bathed. Our skins need to be touched. Our bodies need to be held. Our spirits need to feel loved. We'll pay a high price to have these needs filled. Often the price can feel as if we have given ourselves away. We are trained to give our power away, and that those who take our power will then give us love in return. Unfortunately, there's that training thing, right? Every lesson in it talks about it. And she wrote the book 30 years ago, folks, so think about how bad it is now with the social media. Unfortunately, they do not. The paradox here is people love whole people, those who, with their personal power intact, much more readily than they love helpless, dependent people. As children and as adolescents, we learn that what we want must be subverted by our powerful parents, teachers, and peers. When then do we learn that it is safe to show our personal power? If you're lucky, we will learn it from having healthy relationships or from having wise role models. If we have not found the relationship or the role model, then the therapist can serve as that function. That's me for you folks. I can encourage you and help you. Okay, I can help fix your unhealthy mind. I've learned how to do it. Call me 458-232-5238 to schedule your first therapy session. But you're going to have to get very honest with yourself, okay? And you're going to have to be honest with me and trust me. I can help you, okay? That's the only reason I'm here on Facebook and YouTube. The therapist or role model or loving friend cannot change you. I can't change you, but I can help you. But they can provide an atmosphere, an environment conducive to change, which is exactly what I'm doing right now in this video. They can encourage you to assert yourself, to claim your personal power, to take risks, to make mistakes, and to know that you are accepted and esteemed at all times. No one can change you. The opposite is also true. You can change no one except yourself. The therapist will help you focus. I will help you focus your attention on yourself. The time and energy that you spend on changing yourself will result in you feeling more powerful and more in control of yourself, and you will benefit and take credit for what you have done. Exclamation point. Wow. Say 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily. Get this book too. Go through it with me on Facebook or YouTube. Call me. I can encourage you along the way. 458-232-5238. I can be your psychiatrist, therapist, and I can be your friend too. Because you can learn to trust me. I've healed myself. I can help you heal yourself also. Seriously, folks. I'm going to have another lesson for you tomorrow. What is success? Lesson 15. You all have a great Friday out there. I'll be talking to you tomorrow. you.